K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Attention Patriots, Red Nation Rising Radio is about to begin.
Please return your Republic to its original position and prepare for takeoff.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Red Nation Rising Radio. It's the Reddest Hour on radio. Our program is all about you. It's your questions, your tweets, it's your chat room. So enter your questions for our guest tonight, State Senator from Arizona, Kelli Ward, Dr. Kelli Ward. I'm Lou. Jared, say hi to our peeps listening.
Hey, peeps, lovers of liberty, fellow patriots. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hello, fellow patriots. So we're your guides to the Reddest Hour on radio. Let's go. TPP, TPA, TAA, holy cow. This is another week where I'm a little bit speechless, and those of you who know me know how odd that is. But man, did we see some dirty parliamentary tricks this week and the end of last week. What were we watching there, Jared?
Ultimate betrayal.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a lot of that for sure, and I think people truly feel that way. I think it was the process as much as it was the legislation that's making them feel that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't say enough about how crazy and how dirty it was. I think that, you know, for me to ramble on about it is kind of silly. Kind of some of what you guys had to say this week about it was really interesting. What we did was pretty amazing. What you did was pretty amazing. We were able, you know, within one 12-hour period, Jared, about 500 tweets, and we did how many impressions?
500 million impressions, but it was just a few hundred tweets. It was unprecedented, really.
Right, and I mean, it takes somebody
tens of thousands, really.
Tens of thousands of tweets to get that many impressions, but not our team. Okay, you guys are the most amazing people we've ever seen.
They are.
Yeah, you can make some noise on Twitter for sure and definitely get some people's attention. So kudos to everything that you've done this week. We're going to highlight some of the funny things that you said here in a minute. You know, this bill was joined and disjoined and rejoined and unjoined. And we saw some crazy things happen on the Hill. And when we went live just now, there are still crazy things going on the Hill. They're still talking about this. They're still debating it on the House floor. And I can't even keep up with, and I think they've done this intentionally, but I can't even keep up with which bill is which now. And, you know, I know they passed TPA today, and I know that's a regular thing. And that's about as much as I can get out of it. they've done so many crazy things with this legislation that I can't keep up with what they're doing. Is it just me?
No, it's not just you.
Yeah, I don't think so. So this is what we saw from Red Nation Rising Maryland said, Congress, ? They hate us and they think we're stupid. Now, this might be my favorite one. It solicited a response from Kerosene Cowboy, who we know, we know, and he's a guest on our show, Randy Arrington. Like a cancerous tumor, politicians always want to cut we the people out. Let that sink in for a minute. And he also said half of them do hate us and refer to us as the mass.
Yep.
Well,
that's nice. The sad thing is that they're calling us stupid, and the sad thing is they're actually, I hate to say it, but they're half right, because half the country does not care about any legislation that gets passed. They don't even know who the Secretary of State is or who their own senator is, let alone TPP, TPA, TAA, whatever the case may be. I mean, but they're calling everybody stupid. They're calling the people stupid that do pay attention in this case, the mass. We are the mass, and the mass is coming for them in 2016. We're not putting these people back in. We better not.
And I think that this week we let them know that they were listening. And I bet you John Boehner stopped at least once and regretted ever opening an account on Twitter. At least once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Nation Rising Pennsylvania sent a wonderful meme that I almost wish we have video so that we could show this meme, but it was a beautiful picture of Boehner and Obama with the caption, "A deal between the devils, the sellout of a great nation, America sent down the drain."
It's a good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one, and I think it kind of encapsulates what you said earlier about the lack of trust, about the being betrayed. I really think that's how a lot of people feel is betrayed. Red Nation Rising Indiana, you are officially put on notice. Hoosiers will remember your TPA vote. There you go. That's the way to tell them, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want them to know that we're paying attention. So don't let up. You guys are doing a fabulous job. We've got a couple of featured blogs. Tonight we have The New Communist Man. That's a great read and a little bit of a challenge, I think, to make us think, from Dr. Randy Arrington. He's also got another blog coming for Father's Day that is a heart twister that you definitely have to look out for. And Angela Sanders, and a lot of you probably know, is also working on something on TPP and TPA that you also need to keep your eye out for. So that's one blog down and two coming that you really need to pay attention to. And we've got a clip here, I think, as we prepare to welcome Dr. Ward on the show. We have a clip here, right, Jared?
Yeah, it's Arizona State Senator Kelli Ward in 2014, April, I believe, at Bundy Ranch, speaking to a group of patriots. And forgive the audio, it's outdoors, it's windy, but we're going to play it, and then we're going to welcome on Dr. Kelli Ward.
Big round of applause for her.
Thank you all so much. It is wonderful to be here in the desert by this ranch with so many freedom-loving patriots. Yes, you are all patriots, and it is amazing to see what peaceful civil disobedience can accomplish, because this was the first shot across the bow, and we won this battle. Yes. Yes. You might wonder why somebody from Arizona is here in Nevada to fight this battle. Well, my district, in fact, goes right up to the Nevada line, and many of my constituents said, "What's going on up there? Get up there and find out. We want to know from your perspective what's happening, and you represent us, so we expect you to go. We want you to go find out, because we do not want anything like this to come into Arizona, because it's unconstitutional, and we are not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for this massive federal overreach, unconstitutional federal overreach. We want to reset the proper balance between the state government and and the federal government. And really, I'd love to have a lot of leave me alone zones. You know, we should be leaving people alone. People are able to determine how to eat, how to find water, how to live without the government intervening and telling them what to do. So, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I will be in Arizona fighting for freedom, fighting for liberty, fighting for small government, fighting for less taxes, and I take the oath that I took to our Constitution very seriously. So I will be there fighting for our constitutional rights as well. I thank you all for letting me be here to talk. I really did not plan to talk. I'm not planning to be here for the press conference that was supposed to happen on Monday. I just wanted to be here to be part of history with all of you as we stood up to the federal government and they heard us roar. They heard our liberty roar, and I hope you guys won't stop here. You will continue it. You will tell your friends. You will tell your neighbors, and get more and more people, because we can accomplish great things. We, the people. Thank you.
For the land of the free, and the
Welcome, Senator Ward.
I'm here. Wow, that was amazing. I haven't heard that maybe ever. I don't know. I hate to listen to myself, but that was pretty inspiring.
Yeah, it was.
I
I saw there in the chat room somebody typed in Sarah Palin 2.0.
Well, I'm joining you today live from D.C., so if you hear some beeping horns or people protesting, it's because I'm right out here outside in Washington, D.C., so I'm glad to be here talking to such a patriotic, liberty-loving, Constitution-loving audience.
We are excited to have one of those rare statespeople on our show. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Senator Ward, or should I say Senator Dr. Ward?
Kelly works just fine for me.
Great. Kelly, thanks so much for being here. Man, it's a really interesting week to be in D.C.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm here for a conference on global policy because as a state senator, that isn't something that we generally focus on. But there's a conference going on, and I want to strengthen my skills, hone the points of my knowledge. And so it's been an interesting day, right? It's been an interesting day on TPA. It's been maybe a sad day.
Yes, it's been an interesting week, and it started last Friday, and I watched the vote last Friday, and I knew when they were mulling around on the floor, at least half the Republicans in the House were mulling around on the floor after this first vote that something was about to happen. But yeah. I don't think it was really scheduled that way, and it seemed a little bit like trickery to me.
Well, I think it gave a lot of people cover to vote one way on one thing and another way on another thing, and it really, I think, has confused the constituency everywhere across the country about what's been happening with that vote, because it is kind of a complicated issue. This whole trade deal, most of the people who are in Washington have never voted on a trade deal. There are a few that have been there for decades who have voted on a whole bunch of things. But, most of them haven't ever done anything like this. And to have a bill that has TPP under lock and key where our representatives in our representative republic, I'm putting it in quotes today because where they have to go in, sign in to this locked vault to be able to read an agreement that is going to affect all of us across this country, and then to not be able to tell the voters and the people that they represent anything about it. They need to keep that mum's the word. I just do not think that that's the way a representative republic is supposed to work. I do not think that that's what our founding fathers thought our government was supposed to be about. And so the process, to me, the process is flawed.
Yes, I would agree.
Bill.
Yeah, and not just with this bill, but we've seen with a lot of things in it, and every time it seems to get worse, right? So Obamacare was pretty tricky, and this was even worse. I've never In all of my studies of political science and in my lifetime, I've never seen a bill locked behind closed doors that you can't tell your constituents about. I mean,
right.
Our representatives are voting on this, but you can't tell us about it. It was insane. I've never seen that. I've never studied anything like that in any sort of democratic anything.
Right.
Sort of
well, and the majority of those people who represent us did not read the bill or even skim the bill. They just didn't.
They didn't bother.
That is,
it was behind locked doors.
This is bringing to light what generally happens in government, which is nobody reads the bill. And then it comes to a vote, and they've been told by whatever lobbyists or whatever special interests, whatever their voters even, which way they think that they should vote. And so things have gotten really out of hand in this representative republic, and I think we need to rein it in. I hate to hear people from our side, the conservative side, saying we need to pass it so we find out what's in it. That was appalling when Nancy Pelosi said it. It was even worse to hear those words coming from Paul Ryan.
Yeah, I think a lot of us we've been disappointed in the past 2 weeks between the Senate and the House and a lot of people. And that's been really hard for us. And believe me, we've made all the noise that, we can possibly make, and we're making more noise all the time. But even on Twitter, we're isolated, and they're isolated. Inside the Beltline is a very isolated place. And so that brings me to a question from our state accountant in Oklahoma. Why don't our elected officials listen to we the people? We elect them. We vote for them. Is it about who lines their pockets? Should there and then the comment, I think there should be annual elections so we can get rid of those who refuse to listen to us. So to have to be reelected every year, everyone, that might make them think a minute, right? Maybe we'd actually have a voice in D.C. if we did that. What do you think about that?
Right. Well, I mean, I think that sometimes, and maybe many times, elected officials forget who they work for. And, for me, I work for we the people. I work for the 219,000 plus people in my district and the millions in Arizona, trying to make good policy that will make daily life easier for the people, better for the people, make their taxes lower, keep their government smaller, make it easier to start small businesses, all of those kind of things. And I think that at times our officials, elected officials, whether it's at the local, the state, or the federal level, they forget that. So much emphasis is placed on raising money and making sure that you have the money in your war chest so that you can fight off whoever is coming next. Now, of course, that's important in terms of getting your message out. But I think that it kind of gets skewed from the message that your people that elected you want you to promulgate into, this guy gave me the maximum donation, or that guy put a lot of money into a PAC that was supporting me, and I have to, be beholden to them rather than to the people who elected me. I mean, I see it at the state level. For me, I'll tell you, as a family doctor, I think I'm kind of immunized against the lobbyists because I feel like I've always had lobbyists, and they're drug reps, they're pharmaceutical representatives, who are wonderful. They're beautiful people. They've got great information, but they're always trying to sell you something. And for me, the lobbyists are exactly the same. Beautiful people, great information, trying to sell you something. And so I've been able to, through my career in medicine, discern what is truth, what is not truth, and where to go. And I would never, ever, ever let one lobbyist determine what my vote was going to be when I have 219,000 plus people who I represent in my district. And so I think that people forget about it. And I think that a lot of people who go into politics have never had that kind of attention from these beautiful people. For me, they're normal people, and I try to take the good from what they have to tell me. I try to discern what's the bad, and then I bring that to the people that I represent so that I can vote the way that they expect me to vote, which is with them.
With your constituents, right? And the analogy
with the right constituents.
Right. Pharmaceutical was an industry that I worked in. And what came to mind when you said that was, and when you see a drug that needs one more study, Right?
Yes.
So, exactly. So I read the patient insert, and I can tell this drug needs one more study. And I think you anticipated the next two questions, which is North Carolina, my home state, wants to know, who gets a job for life in this country other than, a small business owner who is sometimes good and bad,
right.
and how you'll handle special interest groups. And I think you just told us that.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, yes, I will take into account what they have to say. I think that what they have to say is important, but they never, ever, ever outweigh my constituents. Never.
Right, because nothing should, and we appreciate that because that's the way that we feel it should be. We vote. Our audience and our community are voters, and we're primary voters. So
yeah.
We're the voting public here, and we go to that trouble. We hold that very sacred, and we go to the trouble to do it because we want to have a voice. And when we don't, we get very frustrated. Louisiana also said that the reason McCain is so hard to beat is because he has all the money. So how do you? And pardon me for asking, but I don't think you've officially announced that you're challenging Mr. McCain.
Well, I have an exploratory committee open. I have a testing the waters committee, kind of what Scott Walker said he has, I guess, said that today. I've been out for the last couple of months since we got out of session in Arizona because I didn't want to start doing anything while I was in session. I didn't want anyone to have any kind of untoward feelings towards what I was doing. So after the session ended, I opened an official exploratory committee to explore the possibility of taking on Senator John McCain in the primary in Arizona. I will tell you, it is not something that I can take lightly. It is not something that anybody should take lightly. It is a huge undertaking to consider taking on the former Republican nominee for president for our party. However, the people in Arizona, and I think the people across the country, regardless of party, regardless of political thought, whether they're Democrats or independents or Republicans or libertarian kind of people, they are crying out for new, fresh, bold, fearless leaders to take the helm in this country. And I think they want us to take a sharp turn to the right and put this country right back on the right path. To prosperity, to economic prosperity for everyone, not just for the rich, for everyone. And the policies that have been put in place by the current administration are definitely not doing that. We've got many poor people. We've got many poor people on food stamps, on other types of government welfare. They are not becoming self-sufficient. They are not pulling themselves up and becoming productive members of society. So we have got to change. And when you have somebody in Arizona, like we do, who's been there for over 3 decades, think about that. That's since before I could vote. I'd love to say it was since before I was born. However, no, it's only since before I could vote.
Well, you can say more than I can there, Kelly.
But you think about, I mean, your listeners should think about who in Arizona have we missed that could have been that leader that took us down the right path rather than letting us flounder where we are right now as a nation. There are people that are ready to take the reins. There are people that are ready to take the lead. And so we have got to have a change in regard in this country. And I think that that's across the board. People are crying out for it. And that's why I think that Senator McCain is somewhat vulnerable. I have to look at the political landscape. I have to look at the financial landscape and make sure that those paths converge into the ability to have a win. And I think that both of those things are there. And so once I get that decision made, I will let everybody know, yes or no, of what's going to happen.
But we're not going to get you to announce tonight, obviously.
Not tonight,
okay.
Not tonight.
But I think that you did answer the question, how would you overcome that? And I think that, what I heard you say is a good, solid message. And the fact that he's been there so long, that makes him somewhat vulnerable. So
and people want a conservative person. They want somebody who actually says what they're going to do and then goes and does it. For me, I've got a conservative record in the Arizona State Senate. I've got a record of saying what I want to do getting people to vote for me based on that and then delivering on those promises. And I think people are looking for that as well. They don't want somebody who's just all talk and no action. We saw that in the last primary with Senator McCain, where he said, things like build the dang fence. And then as soon as he was elected, he joined the Gang of Eight for amnesty. People don't want it. People are sick of it. And I think that, the time is ripe for change. The time is ripe for changing the status quo in Washington, D.C., for changing the culture in Washington, D.C. If we truly want that, we have got to work for it. We can't be watching the Kardashians. We can't be watching the Bruce Caitlin show. We have to work. It's going to take boots on the ground. It's going to take phone calls. It's going to take knocking on doors. It's going to take money. But I think that now is the time to do it. And I think that the people across this country are aching for it, are crying out for a change.
And you're talking to the right group of people. We did have a question in the chat room about term limits. Do you think that would have helped Arizona?
I do. I mean, I don't think that anybody in Washington, D.C., for the most, maybe not anybody. There are a few who are going to term limit themselves because once they get there, it seems like they like to stay. For me, I will tell you that I personally, and I've said this on many public occasions, if I run and if I win, I would not stay for more than 2 terms, which is 12 years. 12 years is plenty of time to have an agenda and accomplish it, and then move aside for the people who are ready to take the reins, who are right behind. For me, I'm a person who believes in building people up to the best that they can be. Why would I, after 12 years, stand in the way of the people who are ready, the people who have been training, the people who have been learning, the people who are ready to take the country on another, on a better, more energetic path than I could offer, simply because for me personally, it would be great to stay in longer. And I think that that's where we are politically. People are ready, but I don't think that Washington, D.C., that anybody there is going to try to term limit themselves. It's going to be up to us to elect people who will make a pledge to term limit themselves without government intervention.
Right. But that was really kind of the way that it was meant to be. The president eventually had to be held to do 2 terms because it was necessary, because we ran across one that took more than his fair share. And, so that happens sometimes, and sometimes you have to hold people to that. It's, and it's really kind of sad, for so many years, that's exactly the way that legislators approached their service, and they carried it out that way. It worked really well for a really long time, and it's pretty much a lifetime opportunity. And
now we've got a political, an elite political class that rules us, and that is not what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted a citizen legislature that they had jobs, they had careers, they had life outside of Washington, D.C. And instead, now we've got people who their only life is inside Washington, D.C. For me, I like to say I'm a senator who works. I still work in the emergency department in Kingman and Lake Havasu, rural Arizona, because I'm a physician. I am a physician who I love my job. I love to take care of people. I'm really good at my job. And for me, an election is one thing, which I think that this is a very, very important election. It's something that we have to look at very, very diligently. However, it's still an election. For me, I build my life on my family, my faith, and my profession. Those are things that no matter if I win or lose an election, those are things that I build my life upon. Those are the foundations. And so many people who are in elected office, their profession is being in elected office. And that's what I think is one of the cruxes as to why we're having the issues we are nationally and even in some of the state legislatures as well.
I think you're probably right. I think we have another clip here, don't we, Jared?
Yeah, on this break, it's a couple sound bites from the last time Kelly was on the Mark Levin show. So we're going to play that now, and we'll be back from break in about 2 minutes.
The state senator from the 5th Legislative District is Kelli Ward. Senator Ward, how are you?
Hey, Mark. It's great to hear you and talk to you again.
You know, what's interesting to me is the Republican Party, the bureaucracy in Washington, talks all the time about we have to reach out to women, we have to reach out to minorities, and yet when conservatives offer themselves in Republican primaries to a man, they back the incumbent. It's just remarkable that their propaganda does not match their actions. Are you seriously considering getting into this primary against John McCain?
I am seriously considering it. It isn't something, obviously, to take lightly. It is something that's going to take a lot of thoughts, learning, listening, praying, conversations before I can determine if there's a financial path and a political path that actually could lead to a victory. We have got to get behind the new generation. We have got to get behind the passion, the positivity, the principle that we all want to see in Washington. And that's going to take a change. That's going to take a change, not just a change for the sake of change, but a change for good. A change for, for me, I don't think that Senator McCain or most of the people who are in the Senate or in elected office at all have ever faced a well-educated, well-spoken, down-to-earth, Constitution-loving woman. And I can tell you, I think it strikes fear in their hearts.
So do I, but I like the way you term this as the new generation of Republicans who are more articulate, who are more principled, who are more conservative, who are Reaganites. This is the new generation of Republicans. I agree with you.
Yes. We have got to get those kind of people in office if we truly want change. If we want the status quo, I mean, obviously there's plenty of people out there who are willing to offer that to us.
Okay, welcome back with Senator Kelli Ward.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
And now we're back with Kelli Ward. So sorry about that. So we're getting a lot of questions for you from the chat room. Some of them overlap. Yeah, some of them overlap with some of the ones that I had for you too. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get this in kind of a good order. We were going to talk a little bit about Obamacare because you are a doctor, and this question came from Arizona. Does the GOP have a real plan, a solid plan, to replace Obamacare, and how bad will it be in 2016 when Obamacare fully kicks in?
Well, I don't know that the national GOP actually has a plan. I can tell you that I have something that I think would work, and I think that is health savings accounts so that people are able to have some decision-making capability. We're going to bring the consumerism back to healthcare because right now consumerism is not in the healthcare arena. People have no idea what it costs to go to the doctor. They have no idea what a test costs. They have no skin in the game, like the president likes to say. So those health savings accounts can help them with taxable income as well as being able to invest in their health care the way that they see fit. They also need to have, I think, they don't have to, but they need to have, I would say, a major medical policy or a catastrophic care policy. That's something that generally is pretty inexpensive, but may have a high deductible, but you only use it for true emergencies. There's you have a car accident, you develop cancer, even pregnancy, those kind of things. Those are when you utilize the major medical insurance. Now, health insurance at this point really is not insurance. Insurance is something that you buy and you hope to never use. If you buy car insurance, you don't say, oh, well, I'm going to wreck my car just so I can use my insurance. If you buy life insurance, you buy it and you hope to heck that you're not going to use it, at least not anytime soon. And so when we have health insurance, I put it in quotes, insurance, and people expect, oh, I bought this policy and I'm going to use it for everything, whether I have a splinter or I have, I sprained my ankle or I have a cold or I got a rash. I'm going to use that to the fullest because I'm paying for it. And so I think that we have to change that mindset. I will tell you that as a family physician working in the emergency department right now, during Obamacare, during the implementation in Arizona of Medicaid expansion, that I see the good, the bad, and the ugly of healthcare. I will tell you that maybe there's a teeny tiny bit of good, not much. There's a lot of bad, there's not a lot of ugly. I joke because my first shift back after the legislative session, my first patient that I saw was a young girl, in her 20s, who came to the emergency room right away at 7 a.m. because she had an insect bite. She had a bug bite. She needed to get that checked. I was like, well, are you worried? Is your arm numb? Or is there some, is there really an emergency associated with this bug bite? No, just a bite. But it actually has even gone, that's the bad. I say that's the bad, but it's actually gone even further that the last shift I worked on Sunday, we had a guy take the ambulance to the emergency department to have his bug bite checked. So, it's gone from bad to ugly just that fast. And so, I think that we have got to have reform. But I think there's argument within the Republican Party at the national level because some like Obamacare. Big government Republicans like Obamacare. They like the idea of single payer. And the proof is that they are not willing to vote to defund it. They aren't willing to vote to get rid of it and pull it out by the roots.
Even some of the ones that are telling us that they aren't necessarily for it or they would get rid of it. They really would.
Yes. Well, that's the thing about actions and words. There's a lot of words, but their actions speak much, much differently than what they're trying to convince us of. How bad is it going to be when it's fully implemented? It's going to be horrible. It's already horrible. It's horrible now. People's deductibles are going to go way up. There's going to be de facto uninsured because people can't pay that deductible in order to get the health care that they've been promised with that piece of government paper. And we don't have the workforce to take care of the millions of people that they're dumping in and telling them that they're going to have primary care when they don't. So it's only going to get worse. It is not going to get better. And I think that's by design. That's by design. The federal government would, they want to swoop in and say, well, we just need single payer, and that'll solve everything. Oh, boy, yeah.
Yes, and the funny thing is that typically when you hear someone actually say that, it usually is a doctor. And that really stands out to me, that is kind of the medical community's take on it. It's very typical of politics, and it's almost akin to what so much of Obamacare is so similar to what we've seen in the past week and a half with the trade deal or with Obama trade, and it's poetic that they're calling it Obama trade because the way that they're treating it is so much like Obamacare. But the scary thing is that was a Democrat Congress. This is a Republican.
That's right. That's right. And what does that tell you? It tells you that we need a change in the status quo in Washington, D.C. Because there's too much similarity, and we, the people, are being left out.
Yes, absolutely. And it does definitely, and I say it makes me frightened. It is a little bit scary, but it means that we need to make that much more noise out here however we can.
The other side would love us to sit down, shut up, and go away. And so whenever you hear that, whenever somebody tells you, it's the law of the land, just let it be, we have to say, how does that benefit them? If we do that, how does it benefit them? What we need to do is we have to stand up, we have to be loud, and we have to be present if we truly want to change the status quo in Washington, D.C.
Can you say that again? Stand up.
Well, they want us to sit down, shut up, and go away. And we have to stand up, we have to be loud, and we have to be present.
Be present.
So the opposite. Like whatever it is they want us to do, we do the opposite.
Stand up, be loud, and be present.
Yep.
Yes. But boy, are we going to be rooting for you. Boy, am I going to be rooting for you. So, don't expect some tweets from me kind of nudging you to run. And that's from me personally. So,
yes.
Yeah, and the comment that you made about bringing consumerism back to, or capitalism even, back to healthcare was well received as well in the chat room. So wanted you to know that. We have some questions about immigration, and I know that we heard so many rumors, and we saw the WikiLeaks about the immigration information and immigration
in
deals.
the TPA and the TPP. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us, well, the question is, is that Arizona's biggest concern? Is that one of your constituents' biggest concern? And also, will you elaborate on what you know about the immigration that might be, or what you've heard?
Right. Well, I mean, I've seen some of the WikiLeaks documents as well. So, it's hard to know what's thin and what's real and what's a draft and what's the final copy, because we are kept in the dark in this process, which is wrong. I don't think that it's right to give the president the power to expand visas, to expand the number of visas, to expand the reason for the visas, to expand the length of time that people can stay for certain visas without input from the Congress, which is constitutionally required. And so that is something that we should be looking at seriously and having concerns about. For me, one of the reasons why I'm even considering this race against Senator McCain is that the last time he ran, he said, build the dang fence, and then he went straight to amnesty with the Gang of Eight. We have a rule of law. We have got to follow it. We should have an in and out system so that we know when people are coming, when they're supposed to go. I think that the immigration issue is difficult. It's complex. It's not super simple. I think the first people that we should go and attempt to deport are the people who overstayed their visas. Whenever you overstay your visa, when you got a visa, you realize that it was for a certain thing and for a certain length of time, and that you were supposed to go back home after it expired. And when you willfully choose to ignore that rule, that law, then you become a criminal. And so those people are the first ones that need to be disciplined for their bad choices. And so that, that's 40%. Apparently, that's about 40% of the people who are here illegally. That would take care of a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And any of us that committed a similar crime or a crime at that level, any citizen would be in jail or at least on probation, house arrest. Right. I mean, it's a federal crime. Yes.
Well, and we have people that the Obama administration is considering just releasing from prison if they're here illegally. And they've committed some pretty significant crimes, and they want to, instead, because their home country, like Guatemala doesn't want them back, or Mexico doesn't want them back, or one of the European nations doesn't want them back, our choice is just to let them out. That also is appalling to me as a citizen, appalling to me as a parent, to know that our government wants to release terrible criminals onto the streets in our country who are here illegally because their countries won't take them back.
Yes, so many of us, me included, have the story somewhere in our family of someone being harmed by an illegal drunk driver, and there a lot of us can really actually say that, and I think it puts a little bit different. You see it a little bit differently when that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be like Hillary Clinton. My parents were not immigrants. My grandparents were not immigrants, but my great grandparents were immigrants from both Hungary and Poland. My great grandmother, my great grandfather on each side of the family came over here. They were 12 years old whenever they came. They assimilated into our society. They became Americans. They were very, very hard workers. They instilled that work ethic in their children. They wanted the American dream, and they were able to achieve it. My parents were the first people in our family to go to college. Both my grandfathers were coal miners in West Virginia. They were miners, but that was the way that they could support their family, and they had higher expectations for their kids. My parents went to college. They became teachers. My dad is still a teacher. My mom actually went to medical school when she was 42. So she was she was an elementary school teacher for 16 years and then went to medical school. Those are the kind of values that they've instilled in me, that as long as I work hard, I keep my nose clean, I put my nose to the grindstone, and I have a dream, I can accomplish it. But that's the true American dream. The American dream isn't to come here and to get on welfare and to get benefits and to suck off the government. It's to become self-sufficient. It's to have the joy of employment, the freedom of employment. And those are the things that we as Republicans need to be stressing, and we need to be instilling in the people that we represent.
Because being a productive member of society first means that you come here legally rather than illegally. If the first thing you do in coming here is break the law, then that's probably a good sign that you're not going to be a productive citizen.
Right.
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 And, or at least we can't necessarily trust you to be one.
Well, that's when they say that they're living in the shadows, that people are living in the shadows. Well, the reason they're living in the shadows is because they came here illegally and they broke the law. They have chosen to live in the shadows. And I understand that people want to come here and they want a better life for their kids and they want a better life for themselves. And I want that for as many people as possible because I love this great country. I love this exceptional country. But we have laws and we have a rule of law that people can follow to be able to do that. And whenever you willfully break the laws of our country, you can't be rewarded for it.
And it's almost a global welfare system at this point, right? Because we've conceded through the UN and so many other places that it's okay to if your country is, you don't have to rise up to be a better country, to be a democratic country, and to make a better country for your people, because they can come here and have a better life. It's almost a global welfare system at this point.
Well, when you look at the world, I mean, there are so many people that are living in extreme poverty across this world. They cannot all immigrate legally or illegally to the United States or to Europe or to somewhere else. I think that for us as individuals and us as private companies and corporations and people who want better for the world, we need to go into those places to teach them, just like when you're here. If you give a man a fish, he eats for one day. If you teach him to fish, he can eat for his lifetime. We have to go into those places and teach them about how to become more prosperous so that they're able to get out of that significant poverty.
Exactly, and that's never going to happen as long as we empower their dictators, but allow them to, run here. So everyone just has the dream to come here one day, but not to make their country better. So I don't think we're doing them any favors, right?
No,
we're not doing anybody any favors.
We're not doing people in poverty in our country any favors either. We are. With Obama, we have increased the number of welfare programs. We've increased the number of people on food stamps. We've increased the number of people on Medicaid, which is government welfare for health care. People have to remember that Obamacare is government welfare. It's welfare. It is welfare. They don't want to call it welfare because there's a stigma attached to welfare, but it is welfare. If you're getting a subsidy for Obamacare, it is welfare. And people have to remember that we want people to be able to lift themselves up. We shouldn't be punishing them for success. We should be helping them to become more and more and more self-sufficient.
Yes, and so we only have just like a minute left, and I hate it because the interview always goes way too fast, and I'm having so much fun talking to you. But we did have the comment from Angela that we did see in the WikiLeaks document where TISA states may not that there may be no visa required. So we're really worried about that. Like you said, we don't know what ended up in the final document because we can't see it. But Arizona, right, but Arizona, your state, wants to know if Congress can, I think I know the answer. I'm going to let you answer this thing. Can Congress reduce the amount of H-1B visas per year?
I believe that they can in general, but if this goes through, there could be some wiggle room for that to just be expanded without any thought, without any restraint, without any restraint. I don't know about without thought, but without restraint. And so that is something that we should be worrying about.
It could end up a tug of rope, where Congress reduces it, and then the president, who may or may not turn around and increase it, reduce it, and increase it. So we're in a constant kind of tug of rope there. That's just crazy.
Well, I know we're short on time. I hope that people will keep in touch with me because I need to hear from people to know if they think that we should replace John McCain. That is one. What they want for our country, what direction. So if people can keep in touch with me on Twitter, Kelli Ward AZ. If they can keep in touch with me on Facebook, Kelli Ward for Arizona. My email, kelliwardarizona@gmail.com. And you have to remember that it's Kelly with an I, because I care about the people. And so I look forward to corresponding and to staying in touch, because that's the only way I can do my job at the state legislature, or if I go beyond that, is to hear from the people and have two-way conversations about which direction we want our country to go in.
Okay, guys, and we'll share that with everybody. Kelly, whether they're on the show or not, we'll share that on Twitter. We've gotten several. Conservative Voice definitely says that they are going to be tweeting for you, Senator Ward. And again, that is at KELLI Ward AZ on Twitter. So give her
Thank you so much for coming on, Kelly. We hope you'll come back again soon. And
I'll come back anytime. I love talking to you guys. I love talking conservatism and putting this country on the right track.
And speaking for myself, you've got someone on the ground here in Phoenix Metro ready to rock and roll and take out Mr.
Thank you.
Rhino. I mean, McCain.
Thank you.
Mr. McCain. So thank you again, Senator Ward. I know that we're going to have you back, and we're going to go to break now, right, Jared?
Yes, we are. Thank you again, Kelly. Have a great evening there in D.C.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a great night. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Be back and see you guys.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
I like America because it has good people.
A spirit that you can't keep down, a fire inside that'll never burn out. If you are the owner of an American heart.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
You didn't build that. Stop. You didn't build that. You didn't build that. What are you yelling about now? Hey, sit down, guys. I'm almost done. Come on, sit down. I'm on your side, man.
Cause we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list. And the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist. And the eagle will fly. And it's gonna be hell.
Welcome back to our show wrap-up. Wow, that was really amazing. I think I'm in love with Senator Ward. She was fabulous, Jared.
She is. She's so principled, and she speaks well, and she hasn't. Everything she's said as a senator here in Arizona, she's backed up with action. She doesn't just speak and say she's going to do something to please people.
Yeah, and that's really good to know. And they're going to be in the next election, and it seems like it's forever away, but I promise you it's not. It'll be here before we know it. There will be people that we all know from all of our states that challenge here and there, and I think that one thing that it's important for us to do is to share with each other what those people's records are. And I learned that, definitely in the last election here in North Carolina. It's good for us to share with each other what we know about a candidate that's not been on the national stage before, because we are looking for people that aren't lifetime politicians. That's not what we want to have, because we've seen what happens.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Right. And the most change we're going to get in Washington, they're not going to limit power among themselves. They're not going to fix anything. It's the people that come in from local up to state, and people that come in from state government that, motivate and affect change. It's not going to be the people that have been there for 3 terms.
Absolutely. Some of the comments that we got out of the chat room that I wanted to share, is that when we were talking about Obamacare, it was all about the cost and how high the cost is and the high deductibles and how this really hasn't helped anybody. If anyone actually ended up insured that wasn't insured, it's a welfare system that is just dragging the system down for all of us. So in the end, we're all hurt, because even those people with their new insurance that is free for them are going to have a lesser healthcare system to use that insurance. So if the system is being dragged down, it's not doing anybody any favors to do that. Another great comment from Arizona. I'm sorry. The healthcare is going to be a nightmare in 2016 because of all the changes that are coming, and then the changes are coming in an election year. My gut is that they're going to delay them again. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let myself have the last word on that, because we're coming up against a hard break, and we're going to end the show. Keep bringing the Twitter hammer down. You guys are getting so much attention, and getting the attention of the people that actually are supposed to represent us. And we just want to thank everybody. Stay tuned for JD and Stacy coming up next on K98. Next week, Colonel Rob Manis. We'll see you right here at 8 p.m.
See you then. Keep rising.